so not prepared for this. Please be kind. Hello everybody, it's me, GhostCritic, for a Friday comic book review video. I've not really had a great amount of time this week since getting this week's comics to kind of prepare any notes. So it's kind of off the cuff, so to speak. So there could be a lot of ums and ahs, and I can't remember what this comic was all about. I'm sure there won't be. But anyway, I've got 7 comics for you this week. Let's kick off with, from Dynamite Comics, The Twilight Zone issue 2. The Twilight Zone. One of my favourite all-time serialised TV shows. And when I heard that Dynamite were putting out a comic book serialisation of it, I was like, oh yes. And I know I didn't really get a chance to talk about the first issue, but it just evoked, that first issue evoked so much of what I loved about the Twilight Zone, right down to, you know, when you get like the opening credits and you hear Rod Serling's voice, and you know right at the very end he's going to say, you know, something like, but we're in the Twilight Zone, or something like that. And they have that in here, and it just sent shivers up and down my spine. I thought, oh God, yes, this is so good. I didn't really know what to expect from this. I didn't know if these were going to be done-in-one stories. So when it got kind of like the twist cliffhanger at the end of issue 1, I thought, okay, as long as these stories don't get dragged out too much. And I think this is going to happen, and I hope it does. And I hope this is just like an opening salvo for this title, because this is the second part of the storyline. There's another part, and there could be another part after that. I think the Twilight Zone stories need to be a lot shorter and more concise. Didn't make this any real less of a good comic, because what the basic premise of the first storyline is, we have a businessman who is embezzling money from his company. He's a very well regarded colleague and employee of this big multinational company, but yes, he's been a bit of a naughty boy, and he's pretty much a horrible individual. He's really horrible to his girlfriend, he's not very nice to anyone, and obviously he's embezzling all this money. Unfortunately, someone's found out, so he goes to this kind of rather nefarious business that deals in changing identities, and we're talking completely. You don't look the same, you won't have the same name, all this stuff, but they'll look after you financially. Whatever you need, they will provide. So, and obviously it's really expensive, but he can afford it, and he has obviously this offshore account which has got probably millions and millions of pounds, so he's not that worried. At the end of last issue, once he's had the transformation and started to get used to his new persona, what comes on the television? What does he see? He sees his old self owning up to all the embezzlement and being a really kind of crap person. And this is the story that kind of continues on with in issue 2, where it's like, where's this guy come from? And there's a big chase, car chase, the twist, and there's another twist in there on how someone else has his old face, and it's kind of like, well, you didn't want that life, so we've given it to someone else to basically see if they can do better than you can. It all goes a bit chaotic and crazy for our main character, and it kind of moves him to a revenge kind of strategy now, which is kind of strange. You know, he's realised, I guess, that his life could be so much better, or at least his old life, and he's pretty much crapped all over his new one, because he's getting chased by cops. He's going to his old building with a gun in his hand, so everyone pretty much knows his old persona and wants him in jail. Not looking good for him. I did really like this. I just think they're a bit too long and could be condensed just a little bit. We've got Hint of Kind, issue 5, and if you weren't really a fan of it by now, I don't honestly think this is going to be the issue that does anything for you to keep going either. It is basically our group that have come together, this kind of mismatched of humans and the kind of myth, fable, fairy characters trying to escape the army unit of patchwork skinned baddies, I guess. The whole place is blowing up, crumbling down, and they're desperate to find an escape, and it is very much trying to find a way out of this complex. There's a kind of bit more about the fable aspect towards the end of the issue, with the queen of these Hinterkinds, who is a lot nicer than most of these creatures, these Hinterkind. Her daughter, the princess, the one with the black wings, and absolutely hates humanity completely and wants them wiped out just as much as humanity tried to wipe their kind out. She's put them all in, all the rest of the humanity that she's collected, into like this arena, campus type place, and then she's not letting them have much food or water, and they're all kind of like really ill. The queen sees this and she's horrified. So there is a kind of a nice side to her, but at the same time she isn't happy with her daughter, and things look like they might get a bit frayed family wise. Again, problems with that artwork. Really, what is going on with that weird streaky shadow? It's not even shadowing, because the way it's done makes no sense. I'm going to continue being a bit of a stubborn bugger here. I just want to see where this is going, what Edgington is going for here, and where he's going to push these characters to. Another Dynamite issue this week. It's Green Hornet, and it's number 9. I don't actually know anyone else who's reading this. I don't hear anybody else reviewing it. So what am I going to say? It could be, if you are actually interested, this could be quite an interesting place to kind of jump on and give it a go. Green Hornet has... This is the weird premise that we have here. Green Hornet is obviously a good guy, sort of, but he is also playing both sides. He is making it impossible, basically, for the good guys to like him, and he's putting the fear of God into like the underbelly criminal element, and wanting to become this like huge mob boss that controls all the criminal element of the city he lives in. It's basically all come to a head now, and you've got both kind of the criminals, the baddies after Green Hornet, and you've also now got the cops. The mayor has sent out an order that Green Hornet must be found and captured, and this is pretty much what goes on in here, an attempt to capture the Green Hornet. There's lots of kind of double crossings. There's quite a kind of sad start to this. In earlier issues, the Green Hornet tried to bribe one of the cops, but the cop wasn't having anything to do with it. He was actually kind of, you know, he wasn't a bent cop, he was straight, and he was like, it was James Gordon of the Green Hornet world. He wasn't willing to take bribes. We know that his wife is ill with a kind of terminal disease, but I think there's like a treatment, but he's got no money for it. So Green Hornet, in his civilian guise as Brett, gets his new assistant to say that, oh, we're going to pay for this treatment. The only thing is, his wife's dead. It looks like the cop has killed her, but that is explained further on in the tale. A kind of unfortunate, sad twist to that kind of subplot that's going on. If you read Dynamite Comics, the artwork will be kind of standard for the title. It's got that whole pulpy crime noir feel to it. This is my first kind of journey into the Green Hornet universe. I don't know if this is what it has been like in earlier volumes, but I'm really enjoying it. I just don't know anyone else who's reading it. It's Batman Detective Comics issue 28, and it's another part of this Gothtopia storyline. The way this was kind of not hyped but advertised and solicited, I thought this was going to be a kind of big event in the Bat world, and I know it's kind of crossed over into other Bat related titles. Unfortunately, I don't get any of them, but I didn't for the life of me think this was just going to be a 3-part story, this being the second, the first being in the kind of forgettable jamboree that happened in issue 27. It kind of got lost in all the other stories because it was an anniversary issue. But saying that, it was a really good story. I've kind of caught up a bit now and remembered, you know, you've got Scarecrow, who has somehow gassed the whole of Gotham and pretty much kind of, I suppose, sedated them in a way. They think they now all live in this wonderful utopian society where everything's crime free, everything's great and hunky-dory, and they've somehow got Batman locked up in Arkham Asylum, and this issue deals with Batman's escape from Arkham. We have some little cameos from other of his rogues gallery, like Mr. Freeze. Who else was there? I told you I wasn't prepared. Mr. Pig, and a couple of others, and they show up as they're looking in on Batman and deciding what to do with him, and you know, they all have their own variations of how they want to kind of experiment and dissect and basically torture Batman. Poison Ivy, an unlikely ally, comes to Batman's aid. The artwork, really nice, lots of action in there, and then right at the end we have our Bat family kind of coming together, but they don't look too good. Anyway, Batman 28, I actually enjoyed it a lot for a change. Swamp Thing issue 28, and this is a very, what's her name? Is it pronounced cappuccini? It sounds like a coffee. But we get the whole history of this lady who came to Swamp Thing quite a few issues ago looking for sanctuary, trying to escape somebody. But in this tale we find out her history, how she was brought up, why she is on the run, so to speak. There at the beginning of the book, it's interesting, and it's that kind of funny scene. Obviously Swamp Thing has cut off the Green from the world, but he decided to bring 3 people from the Green with him. We have Lady Weeds, We have the wolf and another character, and I can't remember his name. And I didn't remember him when I actually read it. I was like, well, where's he come from? I don't remember him. But they are now without their powers, these three. They are basically just three normal human beings. But the thing is, they've not been on Earth for hundreds and hundreds of years. And obviously the world has changed. And they just want to go out and have fun. So before kind of Swamp Thing goes off to find Capuchin, he shows them, well, he takes them to New Orleans, I think it is, of all places, in the middle of a Mardi Gras, and everyone's going crazy. And Wolf is just loving it, the decadence of it all, and there are some funny moments there. It was another great issue by Charles Soule. I keep saying this, Swamp Thing, buy it, get on board now. It's better than it was when Scott Snyder was writing it. What did I just say? It's issue 6 of Trillium, Jeff Lemire's 8-issue mini-series. We're nearing the end. I warned you. Yes, it was a lot of turning pages around, upside down, left and right. Even on the one page. Oh, some people must have loved this. The story is progressing. Obviously we have our two kind of main characters. They've kind of swapped timelines. The woman is now in the guy's time zone, and the guy is in the future. But they have now both realised something is wrong and they don't belong in those worlds. So they are basically, well, they know they have to get back to the temple because that's where it all started from. That was the crux of how this kind of time swapping happened. So in their own ways, because the girl at the moment is locked in an asylum because, you know, when you're telling your friends and your sister and your family that you shouldn't be here and you're actually from a future of theirs, people aren't really going to take you seriously. And on the other side, the guy is, well, their whole colony is getting prepped to leave the planet because of the, what's it called? Is it the source? The feed? Whatever parasite comes along and, you know, gobbles up planets, they're getting ready to ship out, and it's making it very difficult for him to kind of sneak away and go back to the temple. Unfortunately, when they get back to the temple, it's not quite how they left it, and it kind of, they think, well, what am I going to do now? Again, as always, Jeff Lemire is, he makes this book such a, not just a fantastic read, but he makes it so tactile. It gives it an extra dimension and, you know, a fun element. You know, some people are kind of a bit miffed, a bit, you know, bored now of the whole, oh, which way do I have to turn it? Which way do I have to read it? Just find it a little bit of fun. It's not like every single comic book is doing this. It's only Trillium. It's a gimmick. It's a fun gimmick. It suits the book, the whole messing around with dimensions, timelines, converging timelines, timelines being in the same place but in different eras. It's great. If you haven't been reading this, get the trade. I'd love to know how it reads in a trade, the way you have to read this book, but still, pick Trillium. And finally, it's 5 Ghosts, issue 9. Oh, it was fantastic. Oh, how I've missed reviewing this title, and what a title to start me reviewing it again. What an issue. You go to the first page and you think, what the hell has happened? Have I missed an issue? Because suddenly you have Fabian, he's in chains, he's being tortured. Like, when the hell did this happen? I literally had to go back on my shelves and just check at the end of the last book and go, book 8, that's how it ended. Book 9, this is how it's starting. Of course, when you go on a few pages, you get a kind of flashback to the kind of earlier events and how we get to the point we are now with Fabian chained up. There are some wonderfully creative elements to this book this week. Not least our kind of history of a younger Fabian as an adventurer. At first glance, it's like, you do have to wonder with this issue, because you think, did they have time to finish, you know, the colouring, the final touches to this artwork? Or did they really mean, and, you know, their idea was for it to look like this? Because the artwork with the kind of history part of Fabian as a younger adventurer before he got the stones embedded in his chest, it's like the bit just before they start inking a comic book page. This is your pencil work. You can see the shade, the pencil shading. You can see all the myriad of lines that they've used to create, you know, the actual figures. It looks amazing, and it's either a clever way to trick us into a kind of, oh, we didn't actually have time to finish this off, but oh, let's go, we'll say this is what like his history looks like. This is the artwork for it. It's a clever way either way, but it shows how much detail and how much artistry goes into each comic of Five Ghosts. It's fantastic. It just wows me with every issue. I'm so glad so many people supported Five Ghosts, picked it up, bought it in issues, bought the first trade to make sure that this got an ongoing. There is no doubt for me at the moment, pick of the week. It was great to see on the ship, both like Fabian's ship and this kind of pirate girl. They're both on different boats, but they're both at the front of the boat. But behind them you can see their ghosts. So on Fabian's side, or Fabian's side, you've got all his 5. So you've got the Merlin, Sherlock, the Robin Hood, Dracula, and whoever else I'm missing. And then on the woman's side, you can see the ghost of Sinbad behind her. And it was just a really nice double page spread. It just looked really nice. Love it. I just love it. There's just too much of Five Ghosts that's great about it. And it doesn't come out even remotely regularly enough. I could do this every week. Okay, that's all my comics for this week. Sorry it was a bit scrappy in places. Like I said, I've not prepared or made any notes this week. It's been a busy week and I'm not going to have time this weekend, and I wanted to make sure the video came out today, Friday. Anyway, that is all from me. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting all my videos that I've been sending out over the last few weeks. If you are new here and you like what you saw, you can do lots of things. You can hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more videos. You can give it a big thumbs up to show me some support, and you can even put some comments in the box below. I'll try and reply to them as quickly as possible. Thank you again for watching. This is me, GhostCritic, saying goodbye. I hope you have a great weekend. Look out tomorrow, probably not it'll be Sunday, but I've been tagged. There will be a video.